Today we're going to look at comparing percents, fractions, and decimals. When we are comparing, we want to make sure that we're going to put the numbers into the same form. So that means we're going to compare a fraction with a fraction, a percent with a percent, a decimal with a decimal. Let's take a look at our first example. Let's compare 3/4 with the decimal of 0.8. So when I do this, I prefer to do this with percentages, just because I think percentages are easier for me to look at. So I'm going to convert 3/4, and 3/4 is one of those that you should have memorized. It is 0.75 as a decimal, but 75% is what that is going to be as a percentage. And then the 0.8 is going to be 80%, so that's 8/10 goes to 80%. And then when I just look at this, it's easiest for me to just compare whole numbers. So 75 and 80, I know that 80 is going to be more than 75, so therefore my sign is greater than. Let's look at another example. So 23%, let's compare that to the fraction of 1/5. Again, let's put it into percentages because it's easiest to look at whole numbers. So 23% is going to stay the same. And then I'm going to put 1/5, one that you should have memorized, into the decimal of that would be 2/10, which is 20%. So then when I compare those, 23 is going to be more than 20, so therefore it's going to be greater than. Let's take a look at another example. 5/8, and let's compare that to the decimal of 675 thousandths. Why don't you pause the video and see if you can get the same answer as I do. So when I change this 5/8 into a decimal, I type into my calculator 5 divided by 8, and that's going to give me a decimal of 635 thousandths, and I want to put that into a percentage, so that's going to give me 63.5%. Then I'm going to move my decimal on my 0.675. I'm going to move it to the right two places, and that's going to give me my percentage of 67.5%. So when I compare these, I'm going to come up with the answer 67.5% is greater than 63.5%. Alright, let's look at one more example. 3/5, and let's compare it to 60%. So my percent is already written as a percent, so I don't have to worry about changing that. 3/5 is a percentage that I should have memorized. So 3/5 is actually 60%. And then I'm going to copy down my 60% so I can compare them side by side. 60 and 60, well, those are equal to each other. So my answer is equal. This concludes the video. If you have any other questions, please feel free to go back and rewatch the video. If you have questions while you're watching the video, please write down the questions and show them to your teacher.